I'm gonna do my best to mute before the coughing, but it just comes on super randomly.
You wouldn't be the first podcaster in the history of the world to cough on the microphone and then
I'm not coughing
leave
on
it in.
I'm not coughing on it. I'm gonna cough away from it every time.
You wouldn't be the first podcaster in the history of the world to cough on the microphone, and I said what I meant, and still
I meant
leave
what
it
I
in.
said, and I said what I meant. And elephant
then
faithful 100%.
He wouldn't even be the
still
first
leave it in the podcast.
on this podcast.
You also wouldn't be the first editor to not edit it out. So you know what? It's fine.
I do my best. I do my best to edit them out, you know?
No one is blaming you, is what I'm saying. I'm saying more popular people than us have worse audio quality than us. So I think that we're doing a damn good job. Hello.
Hello.
I'm JJ, and this is We Were Gamers. How's everyone doing?
I think I just got my first player, AJ Brown, for $29.
Okay, yeah, that's
all right.
I guess we're talking about this. So,
Sure,
hey, Andy,
yeah,
what you enjoying this podcast that you're on? You're definitely not doing anything else, right?
I'm not distracted. I am open to wonderful conversation and new ideas. Nothing in my life will bring me away from this podcast at this point in time.
So,
also, AJ Brown was good last week, right?
No, that's not true. He was horrible.
Oh, that's not good. Why was he horrible?
The Eagles didn't throw.
Oh, that won't be true all season, I would assume.
He says, and not remembering last year where the Eagles didn't throw all year.
Well, I got him for $29.
Cough.
It's a $200 auction draft I'm in, everybody. I think it wasn't a bad move to try and get him.
Look, $29 is not a lot.
Okay.
All right. Out of 200.
Right.
What's the most expensive player? Because this is the number you need to gauge yourself on.
How do I find that? Draft results.
It might show it.
Draft results. Oh, Terry McBride. How valuable is Terry McBride as a tight end? I don't know.
He's ranked high, one of the high ones.
Okay.
The draft thing you're using should have average values for players, and you can use those.
Yeah. Okay. Jamar Chase went for $63.
Okay. So he's usually like 101 or 102, and like Bijan Robinson is high up there also.
Okay.
So if you consider this, hello, welcome to the fantasy football portion of the podcast.
It's that season, right?
Rantasy football is back, friends.
It's season week. We're already actually past week 1 of the football season.
Correct. Week 2 will be well underway by the time this comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fine. We can talk some Rantasy football because I assume that also means that you guys played football this week since your drafts will have happened.
Yes. My advice in an auction is, number 1, don't record a podcast during it. But what are you gonna do?
That's interesting that's number 1. I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, who could say? And number 2, you kind of have to feel out the top end of the market or know from experience. And if you haven't done it before, it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
But the way this stuff goes is like the first or second guy at a position, maybe you get a little discount. And then as the position gets more scarce, then the price goes up until you hit like the last good guy at a level, and then it drops down a bunch. So like if you get the last, like if you think about it in regular fantasy drafting terms, like the last first round pick, right? Who's the 10th or the 12th best guy overall? Those guys are going to be all a higher tier of price, generally, if people are paying attention, than the lower down guys, right?
Fair enough.
So if you know that, and you know what people are bidding for people in that tier, if you don't get caught trying to get one of those last guys, you can save yourself some money,
Sure.
Also, separately, if you bid one of those lower tier guys before their time, maybe people will hold on to their money and say, well, I don't need this like running back 2, and you can get them for cheaper.
All right.
Or conversely, you wait until everyone spends all their money on big people, and then you come in and swoop up a bunch of guys for cheap when you have money and they don't.
So I began with your advice just now, while we were talking about it, and I got Kyler Murray for $4.
Yeah, all right. That's
I
Okay.
brought up
That
a
feels good.
top 10 player, but too early, right? Like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are already off the board, and Jalen Hurts.
And how much did they go for?
Josh Allen went for like $40.
Yeah, that
I
sounds
think
right.
Jalen Hurts went for 25. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
$4 for Kyler seems about right. Sure.
sure. That seems good, right?
We'll say that it is.
Okay. I like
because here's the thing: the majority of your players are going to be $1 probably, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
You'll get through, and so I want to be clear: use the money. Don't save
Right.
it.
You can't
Spend
take it
it.
with you.
It does not go with you. You may as well spend it on people. And if you don't use it on like your position people, what are you doing? Like getting a huge discount for a guy that you're not going to start? Who cares, right? Like if you're just going to drop him to the waiver wire later in the season, like the draft didn't matter.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
So that's how I approach it. That's not the way everyone approaches it. Some people like to really hoard value and like really, think that that's a good deal. But I say like I'm going to spend the money on the guys that are going to play every week and try to make sure that I get the best money I can out of that. And then my bench is full of question mark.
You're just praying to the injury gods all season.
To some degree, right?
We're gonna
the best players and this is just general fantasy advice, right, Michael? Like the best dudes and some of the best guys are always on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
Sure.
And like dudes that no one's heard of, right? And
Right.
that's where
Every
you win your
season.
season off those guys. And
Right.
so that's the way I play it. Is like my bench is going to get traded with those kinds of guys. And so,
Right.
But from that perspective, how did your fantasy weekend go, Michael?
My fantasy weekend went up and down. In one league, I squeaked out a defeat, and in
Wait, what? That's not how that goes normally.
no, in the one league, I was leading by about 4 points going into Monday night, and I was done, and my opponent had one of the Bears wide receivers, so I needed an entirely ground game, which the Bears did not deliver, so I lost that matchup. My other matchup was the polar opposite of that. I had the best score in the league, so
Heck yeah.
one up and one down.
I squeaked out in my regular I'm helping people out league. I squeaked out a win. Thanks to apparently Caleb Williams was terrible in his actual game.
He was not good.
But in fantasy he did fine. And
he did a lot of scramble rushing, which is
not great for putting points on the board, but
not to be counted on.
So Josh Jacobs and he kind of scored near each other, and that let me get by with a win in my first week of my auto draft team.
Nice.
So
that's
never
always a roller coaster.
I have never auto drafted before, gentlemen.
Oh,
Not
that's
one
fun.
time in my entire life. I have drafted like the first 5 rounds of something and then let it go to auto draft.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've done that as well.
But at the same time, I've also like never started with an auto draft. It was interesting to use like the systems in place in order to kind of like set a draft. Like I want RB, wide receiver, RB. I don't want more than one QB. I don't want more than one defense. I want the kicker in the last round. That kind of thing.
Yeah,
was fascinating. I just got Tyler Warren for $10.
Who's Tyler Warren?
The Indianapolis tight end.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Little unproven quantity, but trending up. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He had a decent opening game.
Yeah, we were gonna give it a shot for $10, right? I still got 133, and we're already in the end of round 4 here.
But the rounds don't matter anymore. What matters is who's on the board, right? So
Fair enough.
have all the quote first round picks gone, are all the RB1s off the field, or all the wide receiver ones off the field. That's the stuff you have to pay attention to.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. We'll do all right.
I was not
auto
chopped.
drafting is interesting. Yeah. Oh, good.
I was not chopped. So congrats to me. We hope you are not chopped in future weeks, Andy.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I've never been to a chop situation.
Worry about the floor, not the upside, right? That's the number one thing in guillotine.
Yeah, try and stay above the floor, right?
Yeah. And in my other league, I did win, but no thanks to the Minnesota Vikings, who staged a heck of a comeback and it's made me sweat at the end there.
Okay.
I am playing Josh Allen and Justin Jefferson this week, and I'm glad I wasn't playing them last week.
Oh, wow.
Oof, yeah.
So we'll see how that goes, but yikes.
Yikes is right, dude.
So we'll see how that goes for me this week. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with my the start at least. Well, I think if we want to talk about some starts, Michael, I think you and I played at least a little bit of it. The start to a video game?
I believe that we did play the same demo.
A demo?
I know. I didn't get all the way through it because I got to, well, we'll discuss, I guess. And I got partway through it and I was like, I know what this is. And then I stopped.
Okay.
Yes.
You guys are really leading me on here.
Yeah, you want to drop some knowledge on him, Michael?
Yeah, so Andy, one of your favorite game titles ever, Trails in the Sky, first chapter. JJ and I broke out the remake demo.
This is the remake of a game that has come out twice, right?
This is the second release.
Oh, okay. I thought that they had at some point done some sort of actual. Isn't Trails one of those series that has been like fan released before, and then they did some sort of actual release?
So some of the games have been released only in Japan and then had fan translations made to bring them over into English. They have since had those fan translations essentially made official. So I think that, at least in terms of the old games, they are all caught up on everything having been ported over into English, and now it's just they're behind at a regular pace, the Japanese releases.
Oh, okay.
Correct. I believe there are no backlog Trails games that are not out now.
Oh, okay, good.
On PC, I believe even. I think on PC you can play the entire series from beginning to most recent.
Yeah, I think so.
But no, this is the name of the game is Trails in the Sky First.
Number
Right.
one.
And they had a demo of it out, and Michael and I both played it. How far did you end up getting in it, Michael?
So I got to the point, I got through the sewers and to the point of Estelle and Joshua being sworn in as bracers.
Okay, so we ended in a very similar spot then.
Okay.
So that works out. Hey man, this is that game.
This is definitely that game. It was it was an amusing reminder, at least right off the bat for me, of like, hey, this game is like 17 minutes of exposition before you really start to do anything, isn't it?
Yeah, it does start slow. I do remember, and I am a little saddened to see they did some retranslation in this. It's pretty minor. Like the script was the script before, but there were some classic Estelle lines that didn't show up that I'm sad about.
Right.
Specifically, there's one in this intro that says, "Why is my present a boy?"
What?
Which is not in the game anymore.
It makes sense in the context of the story, Andy.
I still like it. Whatever it means, I still like
Dad
it.
comes home from a work trip and has a present for you. It's a boy.
Oh no.
And then they go on to become adopted. But it's a very funny line I remember from the time that is not there. And I'm sure someone out there is like, but the translation wasn't accurate, JJ. And I'm like, but no one cares because it was good. So, pluses and minuses, but so far, at least, the system is fun, right? Did you enjoy the battle system?
I did. I had not remembered that they had incorporated the newer battle system that is the cross between the live action combat and then diving into the turn-based, if you so choose, on non-boss fights.
All right, tell me
Yes.
how much of an overhaul that is to the game system. Like it was turn based. It was very simple. What did they do there?
So the newer games have a system where when you are running around the overworld map, you can see the enemies on the field, which is not new. They would show up in the original version, but in the overhaul, they implemented the system where you can engage them in combat in real time. So
Right.
think more like a Zelda game.
Sure.
Um,
That kind of thing. Not like it changes to a battle arena kind of thing.
No, so that is you have
yeah.
that option.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't change to a battle arena. It just like stops things and lets you do menus and turn-based actions right there where
On
you
the
are.
field. Okay. Cool.
Yep.
And
then
you've
it
played
starts
both versions, right?
yeah. So
Okay.
when you dive into the battle like that, it starts to impose things like your movement ring, right? Like this is the circle in which you have free range of motion.
And
Which
then,
I guess even that is different from the original, because the original you had a grid
correct.
and you could only move so many squares on the grid. Now you can move anywhere within your range of motion.
It really is, and you guys won't have known this, but this is the battle system from Trails Through Daybreak, the most recent series. And
Yes.
it is like, it feels very similar. However, with a like undoing of a bunch of the systems they have built up over time, I guess to say. Because if you remember the original game, Michael and Andy, right? Like you have your attack command, you have your like magics, you get the arts, right, with your little gems, and
Yep.
then you have your crafts, which are like your special moves or whatever, and they use CP, and eventually you get like a super powerful one of those that you get later down the line. But that's kind of it. And in the newer games, you have those, and then you have a bunch of other stuff. There's like linking attacks and combos and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I did notice a bunch of that, and I was like, "Oh, this is definitely an overhaul from the old battle systems. There's a lot more going on here."
And they brought some of that in, right? Like they show you, oh, look, when you do this attack, you can have your other character contribute or whatever when you do these kinds of things, right? So some of that stuff is in, and I imagine as the game goes on, they'll populate more of it. But it really feels like a stripped down version of what that other system is, which is cool to see then applied to this, more introductory game, right? I guess is the good way to say. Like they're introducing characters, introducing the world, kind of just like getting you started.
Yeah, it's very much like the exposition, right? I joked about that intro, but none of the other games do that quite as much, because you do have this world already sort of established for you by the time you jump into any other game in the series.
Yeah, so it's a good way to sort of show all that stuff off and not jump on you with 800 battle systems and quartz and all these crazy abilities that you can do with quartz and stuff that I'm sure they'll get to over time, but you don't have to start there.
Yeah. I did just a small thing for me that I did really appreciate. I was very happy that they dropped in one other form of crystal that drops as part of your battle rewards that is solely for just cashing in.
Yeah, so that is a system that's been in these games since Cold Steel, I want to say.
Okay.
At least since Cold Steel, maybe even in Crossbell. I don't remember if Crossbell had it or not. But yeah,
Okay.
they added this, like, I think they call it Sepith Mass or something. It's
Yeah,
like
something like that.
non-colored Sepith that you just like, it's purely for money. Like that is the only purpose.
Yeah, so before, Andy, you had to make the choice, right? The Sepith were the crystals that dropped when you won in various colors, and you could either sell them for cash so that you could afford to buy things from the shops, or you could hoard them and turn them into the gems that you need for crafting your arts and for better grade arts. So there was kind of a trade-off if you didn't want to grind really heavily of, is it worth it to get cash and buy better equipment, or to strengthen my arts so that I can, more easily use magic and win battles that way.
All right, well, I'm no RPG fool, and I know that kind of by the end of that RPGs, money doesn't matter anymore. So is this kind of like a trap for new players, or do you really think there was a lot of value in buying equipment?
You need the equipment. I mean, you can't just like never up, because the crystals were only for upgrading your magic. They didn't do anything for your attack values.
They don't touch
or
your
defense.
stats, right?
Which is the thing that changes later in the later games. Like the crystals start having stats attached to them, and it's like, oh, well, this crystal also gives me 300 HP and 4 attack, right? Which is not a thing that existed at this point in these games.
Oh.
So you did need to do both to some degree. But, did you need to cast like, the super awesome fire spell, or can you get by with like fire 1 and not have to worry about like, if you have a really good sword, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they're going to balance it here in the other games, because, in these later games that have these like money crystals effectively, right? Like that problem stops being a problem really so much. And it becomes more about like, how much do you want to grind to get the good crystals now, or do you just wait for them to show up in chests and stuff eventually, right?
Yep.
Sure.
I mean, these games aren't like super difficult unless you're playing on the really high difficulties. So like, it's like, if the option for you to grind a bunch is there if you want to like max everything out, right? But if you don't want to, it's probably fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or if
you can
decide,
get by.
Yeah, if you really decide you want to get the next level of gem now, trade in a bunch of your crystals, all go in on that one thing and you can have it. But, just know your magic's going to suck for a while, right?
Right.
So overall, though, did you enjoy the new systems and, got into the game again?
I did. I very much did. It's definitely one that is easy to fall back into. And with the Trails games, I'm reminded every time I fire one up of, man, this music is all so good.
Dude, yes.
What is it?
Yeah.
Joshua's Theme? Is that what that melody is called?
The Whereabouts of Light?
The Whereabouts of Light. That's what it is. Yes.
The harmonica? Yeah. Oh, so good, dude.
Harmonica?
Yeah.
So it's one of your big thing.
Yeah, one of your main characters plays the harmonica. It's a hobby of his, and he has a song called "The Whereabouts of Light," and it's a recurring melodic theme throughout the game. But it's such a good piece of music.
I would call it a leitmotif, but they use it as a regular like song, so it's not quite
yes,
not quite a like minor motif there. But yes, it's used very frequently, and it's a good song. It's like maybe one of the best songs they've ever made for this series, I would say. That was good. That's your game plan, Michael.
Yeah, so I'm excited to finish up the rest of that.
Solid. I think it comes out kind of soon, doesn't it?
It does. The 19th. So 2 weeks. Not quite 2 weeks.
Wow. Speaking of stuff that comes out soon, Silksong? Wait, it's already out?
Wait, it's out already.
Out? It's a thing?
I didn't end up timing my replaying of Hollow Knight very well.
Uh-oh.
So I am most of the way through. I've completed not quite everything, but like everything I think I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the really hard combat stuff is left that I didn't do. No, I didn't do the Path of Pain, people out there who are about to ask. And no, I didn't do the Pantheon stuff.
You're going to make me cough, man. I'm laughing already.
Oh, I mean, but it's just the case. I didn't do those things.
Yeah.
But the Pantheon stuff is mostly boss refights. I don't need to refight the bosses. I fought them. It's okay.
Fought them once. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, they're harder. Okay, but I don't need to be better. I'm gonna beat the last boss again, and I'll be good. I did some of the DLC stuff that I hadn't done before. There were a few new bosses that got added over the time that I hadn't done before, so that was cool to see. Yeah, it's a good game. Hollow Knight's a really fun game, you guys. Like, that game deserves its status as one of the best Metroidvanias.
Really?
Absolutely.
I mean, this many years later, you still think it just like
yeah,
no
dude, it's
question.
good.
All right.
It's like you go back and replay Symphony of the Night and you're like, oh yeah, this game is great. Or you go back and replay like, Super Metroid and you're like, oh yeah, this game is great, right?
Right.
Just like,
There's a reason why this is the gold standard, right?
yeah. It's up there with those, I think. They really did a special thing here, and I think it's awesome. But I have not had then the time to play Silksong, although it sounds like a lot of people out there have, and the internet has gone on slightly crazy about it.
They've had a lot going on with that system, like the memes are high on certain areas of the game of a lot of people being surprised by things. I don't want to say too much. I did run into some stuff. I don't consider a lot of video game stuff like super spoilery. Boss fight mechanics don't bother me or whatever. But I don't want to say it in case it would bother people to say it this early.
And
but stuff
it
like
is
that.
one of those games where like exploration is important. So like I wouldn't want to see a picture of the map, right? Because like that'd give away a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of like upgrades you get are probably a little spoilery. Like it's probably not a spoiler to say you're going to eventually get a wall climb and a double jump. I've played Metroidvanias before. I know how this works. But when do you get those things? Is it hour 5 or hour 55? I don't know. Is this game even 55 hours long? It could be. So that kind of stuff is the variable that people I think are coming to grips with. But I think the number one thing I've seen out there is people are like, "Oh, this game is hard."
Yeah, so they just put out a patch today, in fact, to make some of the early game a little bit easier. I guess they, based on the feedback, they felt it was a little bit too punishing in the early going. So,
to these people who said this game is hard, I want to ask: did you guys play Hollow Knight?
Well, Jason Schreier played Hollow Knight, and he loved it. He said it's like one of his favorite games of all time, and even he was out there being like, I don't know about this game, you guys. This is really hard. And he doesn't mean about it. No, he doesn't know for himself, but he doesn't know if it's going to be, the thing everybody talks about all the time because it was looking like it was pretty dang hard.
But I think that's the case with Hollow Knight also. Like the beginning of that game is not easy, and it gets, I mean, I'm on a replay here, so I can't really compare apples to apples. But like I died a lot playing that game the first time I remember. And I got lost a bunch of times, and I would, die over and over doing runbacks and stuff. Like that's part of the game, and that difficulty is like why the game was fun at the time, right?
Do you think that enough time has passed that people have just sort of forgotten that they're comfortable enough with the original game that
100%.
at this point it's just like, oh yeah, you do this and you do that and you avoid these.
The difference is the knowledge and the strategy is out there about the first game now, right? So when people play it, either they subconsciously have picked things up, or they have heard things, or they look up guides, or when they get stuck, they have stuff to go research and get the distilled pure answers, right? That are like absolutely right.
Absolute way to
this is your build, right?
And now there's like 40,000 people out there all saying like, I did this, 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 I did this. And no one knows the 100% speed run approved answer for all these things, right?
Sure.
And that in turn makes the original game feel easier, even if you don't use that stuff, right? But there is knowledge floating around out there about that game that's available to the people who want it, and a lot of people do want it, right? Versus this new one, which has no knowledge, no one knows where anything is, no one knows how to use the upgrades, no one knows how long the game is, right? All this stuff. And so it's a lot harder for people to give informed answers about what to do when people get lost, and so then it's a lot more muddled. That's a good thing, though. It lets the exploration be the fun of the game, which I had very little fun in exploration this time, right? Because I sort of was like, all right, I want to get on with this. Where do I go next? Like, where's the next part of the map,
Yep.
Yeah. How much do you think of Hollow Knight, if you could give a percentage, was quote unquote secret, was something you had to look up or were glad you looked up or you're glad you knew about in advance?
The first time or this time?
The first time.
I think there's a bunch of stuff I might not have found had I not looked it up the first time. A lot of the, and I think I hadn't internalized it at that point that like, dude, there's stuff that's just behind walls. You just got to hit them, you know?
You just have
Like-
to know it's there or go around hitting every wall.
They do show it, but you got to really be looking sometimes because there's a little drape hanging over it, or like, you know, there's a little bush in front of the wall, so that might obscure your view of the like slightly broken texture there or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Like they love to trick you.
Yeah. And if you've played enough Metroidvanias, you know that is a very common thing, right? You have to be sort of very observant of the background and the minor differences in textures and coloring.
And the way Hollow Knight doles out its maps and, you know, areas you can and can't get to, right? Oh, I walk into this room. There's a ledge up there. There's no possible way for me to get there. There's some skill I'm going to get that's going to let me come back. Frequently, when you're doing that, your first exploration through a place, you don't have the ability to like look at the map and put a marker on there. You don't get that ability until later in the game because Hollow Knight loves to not give you the map immediately, right? And so you just have to free yourself from those kinds of thoughts and just be like, I don't care. All I'm doing is exploring through here to get the map. That's all I'm here for. I'm going to fight bosses and stuff as I go through and get the map. Rest points and maps. That's the only thing I'm here for. And then you have to go back and look for all that stuff after you have the map. And that's just a different flow through the game, I think, that I definitely didn't have the first time I did it and led to a bunch of dying and going back and forth and doing all kinds of stuff, right? That knowing how the game works when I came back the second time, I didn't have any problems with that, right?
Sure.
So, you know, all of it is to say that like I still had a really great time the second time. Like the game is still really fun. The combat is really good and tight. The movement rules, like all the abilities are super fun. Experimenting with your little charms and all that stuff is super cool. So I'm excited to play Silksong. But yeah, I haven't gotten into it just quite yet. I don't think the difficulty is going to be a thing for me. I like the hard games. I felt like I was able to conquer the challenge of Hollow Knight here. I'm sure I'll be able to get through Silksong too, regardless of whatever sort of patching they do or don't do.
Yep.
Yeah, I wonder how much they'll cave to. We don't like people to be upset about how hard it is versus like they clearly had the vision.
They didn't make Hollow Knight easy, so
well, they had a vision for making this game harder based on some stuff I was watching about what order you get things in and how you find things in the game.
Yeah,
to make it harder, and I wonder how people will handle that.
I am curious to see, and I think the stuff that I've heard from people who are really liking the game is that, yeah, the combat is harder, but also it has a lot more, what was the word they used? Like expressiveness or something. Like there were more things you could do early, even without upgrades or items or anything, than the original game. It's like the original game, before, like you don't have a dash, you have a jump, you have the attack button, and, you know, walking, that's it. Right? But in this game, you have sort of like it's like the downward pogo or something. You have some stuff that you don't have, like an angled attack in this game that you don't have in the original. And I think that, you know, it sounds like it makes the combat a lot more interesting. The enemies apparently also are a lot more interesting, in both bad and good ways, which is probably part of the difficulty, right?
Okay.
Oh, sure. Yeah, they adjust
well, the enemies do stuff as opposed to like charging at you, which is kind of like what a lot of the enemies do in the original game. Or they're, you know, they'll move a set path, right?
They have patterns and move sets rather than just straight line.
Yeah. The other thing I heard about Silksong is that a lot of the enemies have more obvious tells, I guess is the word, for their moves, right? Like the animation is to a degree where it's like obvious the guy is winding up with his sword kind of a thing, right? So you know he's swinging that sword when he starts winding up with it, right? You don't have to like see his mouth chomp you to know he was going to bite you. He was winding up with the sword the whole time, right?
Sure.
Which in Hollow Knight, there isn't any of that. The guy just charges you, and if he's going to use the like area of effect attack, like you're just going to get got if you were too close, right?
Right.
So a little bit more, they're telling you more than they were before, right? But that also then requires you to be receptive to learning, which maybe people are or aren't expecting. So I do agree with you to some, and Jason and whoever else came up with those opinions, that like it's going to be fascinating to see how the like wider audience takes to this game, because it sounds like it is punishing.
Yeah. And I don't know what it went wide fast versus slow, like last time, right? Last time was slow.
Yeah.
Everyone learned the game slow. And like you said, everything was then there when the mass audience got in. They were like, I don't know how to do this. The internet had the answer.
And, you know, they made updates to that game over a period of many, many years, right? Like,
That's true.
There were big DLC, free DLC packs that came out for that game over time, that added new bosses, new abilities, all kinds of new stuff. All the Pantheon stuff that I'm not doing is in there, right? Like was all added later. Boss Rush, yada, yada. All this stuff got added later. And in the meantime, they're tweaking stuff about the game the entire way through, right? But like, you know, no one remembers they adjusted the damage value by 2 or whatever that like, you know, for these things, but it makes a big difference in the early game. And so now when you come back and play, you're like, oh, that guy's not so bad. It's like, well, yeah, because we nerfed his damage by 5 since it first came out, but you don't remember that, right? Like, so it'd be very curious to see how people playing it now feel if they come back and play Silksong in 3-5 years or whatever, like after it's set, quote unquote, or more set than it is.
Yeah, and the bulk of Hollow Knight's player base came in after the fact.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. I was reading about that too in the run up to Silksong's release and the crazy numbers that they were expected to do and then did. That Hollow Knight only sold in its first 2 years. It only sold like under 3 million copies, and then in the 6 years between then and now reached something like 15 million. So they were tweaking it for 2 or 3 years in there before the majority of people actually got in to, you know, to remember, oh, hey, this is how the game was at the beginning.
Which I also want to be clear, 3 million copies is an insane number of copies for an indie game.
For a small indie studio, that's absurd.
Yeah, so like they were already super successful even with the small base, but you're right that it didn't break wide culturally. You know, 3 million is still a low number in the grand scheme of the culture, right? But 15 million is, you know, look, you're not Madden at that point, but, you know, people know who you are, right?
Right.
And Silksong doing these kinds of crazy numbers, it's breaking towards the culture numbers early, not late, like Hollow Knight did, which is very, like, you know, we were saying, it'll be very interesting to see how the public comes down on it. Which then again, like, how many of the people memeing on it actually were intending to buy it, or was it just like a meme, right? Like, that's also a question.
Well, how many of the people out there bought it because they saw it on a stream, or because streamers are into it, or whatever, right? Like,
and there's a lot of streamers and those kind of influencer type people playing it for sure, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Hunting secrets and doing whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, super curious. I will play it. Man, this is a rough month, dude. There's Silksong, there's Trails First, there's the new Final Fantasy Tactics. Like, we're just eating good over here, and that's like brutal times. We could talk about some other stuff.
We should talk about some other stuff.
Yeah. I did do some adulting. We could talk about that. I've now finished all of the remodeling and redecorating we're doing in this phase, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So we redid our entire is the wrong word, but we moved around a bunch of stuff in our kitchen, dining room area. Built a bunch of bookcases over there. So we have an entire new bookcase that wasn't there before. So much more space for stuff, man. So nice. We've got the bookcases new in my office with one of them with the glass doors. It's looking real good. I got the lights on here next to me.
Every time someone says so much more space, it's like, we've got so much space for activities. Pops up in my head and I can't stop it.
You're correct. Do it.
That is the appropriate reference.
It happens to me too.
So much space for activities.
But I'm really liking it. I've got some, my shelving is looking good. The lights are working on the top 2 model shelves, so that looks good. I need to figure out what to do about.
Wait, so you installed lights, or are you talking about the roof lights?
I installed lights.
Sorry, not roof, ceiling. So you installed LEDs in your bookshelf, or what
Yes.
do you mean?
Yes. I went with the easiest solution, which is IKEA sells LED lights, my man, and I installed them straight into that bookcase.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely could have rolled a custom solution, which a lot of people on the internet can show you how to do, and it's not hard. I just chose not to, mostly because I think that if I had done it the way most of the people on the internet do, I would be lighting the entire cabinet, and I only really wanted to light a couple of the shelves.
What does that do to because it's at the top? Does it light some of the front of the bottom shelves, or does it create like a shadow?
Yeah, so there is a shadow on some of the lower shelves.
What's on the lower
Definitely.
shelves? That's the big
Books.
question, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. There's like all my comics down there, some of my novels, and just like book stuff. So it's not a big. Again, wasn't intended to be lighted, right? Which is the purpose. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it looks good. I could send you guys a picture, but I'm not going to put it on the internet. So
Yeah.
the thing I do need to do though is the doors are not all the way flush with the edges of the cabinet. I need to figure out, maybe put some dust covers or something in there, because there's like dust will just
What do you
get
mean
in over
flush?
time.
Like the bottoms, the sides? What?
So the top and the bottom have little patty pad things on them, squeezy gel pad
Yeah,
things or something,
prevent them from damaging
damaging the shelf.
wood. Yeah.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But as a result of that, there is a space between the top and those little pads, right? All the way across
Sure.
to the hinge.
Yeah. Is it really that much that you're going to get a lot of dust, you think?
Yes, because then the doors also don't touch each other at the center point either.
Oh.
And it's not much, but it's like, there's like a 1/4 inch
Okay.
of space between the two doors. And it just looks weird.
Mm.
So I'm thinking I
We'll
need to
have
get some of that, like, what are those, like, felt, like, strips or something, right?
Sure.
I just go around the edges of it just to thicken it up and, like, put, like, a little dust guard or whatever thing on that, just to keep that so it looks nicer, like it looks more flush, instead of having a, like, weird tiny seam in the middle between the doors. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's like kind of the last thing. But that's just like a screwdriver and some sticky tape or whatever.
Yeah, cosmetic finishing touches almost.
Yeah. And in the kitchen and stuff, we're really happy with it. I think we have all our stuff put back away, and it feels better out there than it did before. So that was like my adulting. What? Anyone else do any adulting, Andy?
I certainly did, you guys, and it unlike many other times turned out quite well.
It was not pool. It was not pool related.
Oh my
good,
God.
good adulting.
It's not pool related. That is
Okay.
true. Which means it had to go well, right? My car. So, my car has one of those longer warranties on it, and I was happy to avail myself of taking it in and saying, you know what? I'm not certain this is right. The steering wheel started to really sound like something inside of it was like not grinding, but definitely rubbing on something else when it
So
shouldn't be.
let me question. What do you mean? The wheel made a sound as you
The
turned
steering
it?
wheel. I don't know what other sound to make other than like a whirring sound, like a whirring or a rubbing,
Like some
or
kind of gear was moving against another gear or something, and it made
yeah,
a noise.
something was not correct in how it was rubbing with another thing,
It
and
didn't
I had
like make like
noticed.
whooshing sounds or something like that, right? It wasn't like a
Uh,
cylinder or something compressing.
yeah, not really. No.
Okay.
Um, that kind of I think is like the impetus for one of the things, and then when I had taken it into like a service months and months and months ago, the previous time they were like, hey, the axle boot is not sitting on there right. Something is leaking out of your axle boot. I was like, okay.
Well, that seems bad.
Then what is that? And they're like, oh, it's grease. And eventually you're going to hear it clicking when you turn. I was like, all right, I need to deal with that. And there was a third issue, which we'll get to later, because we ended up deciding not to fix it, which is kind of strange, I know. But in the first time in my life, I went into the dealer and I was like, this is a warranty problem. They're like, it sure sounds like it. You should get it in here and we'll look at it. And in 2 hours, we'll know what's going on. I was like, all right, no problem. Brought it in. I described the wheel issue and they're like, I guarantee you it's the worm gear. This is a known issue. We'll take care of it. And then they were like, the axle, if it shows grease, we'll take care of it. All right, no problem. 2 hours later, they're like, finally had the tech take a look at it. Yeah, that worm gear in the steering wheel in my car is made out of plastic, you guys.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
love plastic.
Guess what happens to plastic when you rub it against other plastic all the time?
Hold on, Andy. I think I know this one. It disintegrates and falls apart.
Sure does, and starts to make a lot of noise. Yeah. So they replaced it with a new plastic one.
Even better.
And in 4 years' time, I'll do this all over again.
Will you still be under warranty at that time?
I should be. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those 10-year companies, you know?
I was going to say, can you get a metal one put in there and then not deal with this at that next point?
I'm not in charge of what goes in the car under warranty, unfortunately.
Fair point. Okay.
Yeah. And then the axle thing, they were like, yeah, this sure is leaking. You guys, I know that the modern economy and the way that things work gets a lot of bad rap. Okay. When something's broken, you just get rid of it, right? Like there's no other option. You just got to throw it out. It's broken. It's too hard to fix it. It's one big piece. And that has started to integrate itself into cars. I don't know if you've noticed, but like, I mean, it even comes down to stuff like this. If a part in the engine is bad, they pull the engine, crate it, and send it back to the company. And you just get a new crate engine put in. They don't take the time to fix it at the dealer, right? Like,
yeah. Oh, no, I know exactly why this is, because none of the dealer techs have any knowledge about how to build or unbuild engines. Like
specifically, they don't teach them anymore. They don't want to teach them.
None
it's
of
not worth the time.
There
and money.
are like skilled technicians who actually can service these kinds of like complicated modern engines. Are like vanishingly rare.
Okay. Yes. So, there's a downside to this, which is it creates a lot of waste and trash and time spent waiting for things sometimes, or, you know, there's like lots and lots of downsides for this kind of thing. However, sometimes you'll hear something very funny, like the axle boot is leaking. Okay, well, in my mind, that's a rubber gasket. Doesn't it sound like a rubber gasket to you too?
Yeah, I mean, it's some kind of rubber thing that's not sealed properly.
So
right?
let's just replace the rubber and seal it up and stick some grease back in there. We'll be good to go. No, let's pull the whole front axle off your car.
That's feeling like overkill already.
That is the solution, you guys. Not only was it the solution, oh no, we just keep a few extra spare front axles in stock for your car.
So it's a known problem.
They had the car fixed as fast as it took them to get the car in to diagnose it. Because they just literally
slamming my head onto the desk over and over and over again.
I couldn't believe it either. They changed the front axle and my steering wheel out in about 2.5 hours. But
it took them 2 hours. I can believe, right? Like, okay, how complicated? How much could a steering wheel cost, Michael? $5.
$5. Yeah.
But the whole front axle too.
That is front axle. Poof, gone. There it goes. Can you believe that?
I have seen decisions get made in industry where the cost to fix something to do it the right way after it's been implemented wrong is deemed too high, even if it would save you money in the long run. And so they just do things like this as a giant Band-Aid. And
Really?
you scratch your head at it, but the people who are in charge of the purse strings made a decision that the time or the money or the effort is not
Right.
something that we want to invest in, and so we're gonna patch the problem and send people on their way.
Well,
Michael, let me tell you about my job.
Yep.
I fix problems that could be solved with 10-cent resistors
Mhm.
or capacitors that weren't included in electrical diagrams. And instead of like going back and putting those capacitors or resistors in line where they're supposed to be, we change it in software. And that means they have to pay me a lot more money than 10 cents for a lot longer period of time to diagnose the problem, fix the problem in the software by working around it. And then, they're like, but see, we don't have to put it on every board. So like, we'll save money in the long run. Bro, you're not making 50,000 of these, so no, you're not.
As a question though, how many of those problems have you fixed versus those gaskets or those resistors, right? Like you do come in as a value at some point.
Sure. And when you find ones that are like more complicated than like one resistor, like, yes, it is, probably beneficial. And then, I can make the thing do stuff that it couldn't do even if all the electronics were working properly, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is frequently we're fixing problems that other groups have caused. And we are resolving their problems by making our own stuff worse.
Right.
Because it's like, well, the correct thing for me to do is what it says it should do and send this, this voltage. But because you screwed up, I have to now send a different voltage, which screws up a bunch of things down the line because this number is wrong and I have to document why I'm sending 3 instead of 5 and, all these things, right?
Sure.
And, and then like 5 years later, you come back, why is this 3? It should be 5. And then the problem comes back, right? So
yeah, right.
It's a whole problem, but it's the same exact mentality you guys are talking about. It's like, well, the correct fix is to go back and just re-engineer the thing the right way, but we're not going to do that. That's cost money.
We did have the discussion and possible realization that this might be car companies and other companies' business model in general to really be just sort of like, you know what, if we cut cost and we save, and I'll mention paint specifically here, if we save on every car, if we save $150 on paint with cheaper paint or no, trying to build in the primer or whatever, we will eventually come out ahead, even if we have to warranty some of these things, right?
And there will be people who won't care correctly, right? Like they won't give a crap as much as you do, and they'll just never warranty it, and then the company makes money on them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this paint specifically because just before I took the car in for these other issues, we got a notice in the mail that's like, hey, normally the thing for your car is like a 6-year warranty for paint, but we're going to extend that to 10 years, actually, specifically for your car and your car in white. So enjoy your brand new warranty. And just before that, I had started to notice on the hood and the front edge of the roof of the car that it's peeling. Like there's white paint flaking off in different spots on the car.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah, that shouldn't be
I mean,
doing
it's
that
not
after
just
6
like
years. That's wildly quick.
I haven't even had the car for 6 years. I haven't had the car for 6 years. I've had the car like 4 years, right?
Yeah, that's
so
like double insane.
yeah, it's insane. And it's not rock damage, it's nothing like that, right? So we're at the point of like, what do we do? And then they come in and be like, hey, by the way, here's a fix for that, and it's under warranty for 10 years. So we went in and we were like, how bad is this problem? They're like, we're seeing some pretty bad cars, but just so you know, maybe don't like go crazy and fix it right away. Maybe wait a little bit longer.
Wait till it gets worse.
Yeah, because what happens when you fix some of it and then later on
the other parts they didn't fix
Yeah, and then
bad.
you start having different colors all over your car.
Yeah,
in
fix
terms
the
of,
whole
like-
thing. Color correct the entire car at once instead of
Right,
panels. Yeah,
right.
that's the
exactly.
right call. They
Uh-huh.
did you a solid by telling you that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, learning how to adult through a warranty has been quite interesting. Adult your way through a warranty.
Well, I'm very proud of you, man. That was like learning that would have probably enraged me.
That's funny.
Do you want to talk about publishers real quick, or should we hold that?
Oh, we could do it. Yeah.
all right.
It's actually an email that I got.
We do
no
get
name,
and read our
by the way.
email.
Hey, put your frickin' name in, you guys, so I can shout you out. I want to shout you out.
Because we don't want to read your email address on the
I'm not
pod.
going to read your email
Yeah, no.
address on the pod because people could guess that it's probably at Gmail or at Yahoo or at whatever, right?
We'll keep you AOL people safe. Don't worry.
But this email came in, and JJ, it's very funny. I did not know at the time that I assigned you Jotun. This
Mhm.
person must be listening to the podcast for a while and know things about games. That the Spiritfarer game that I really, really like, that I have talked about on this podcast.
Oh yeah, I remember. Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Same publisher as Jotun.
Oh hell yeah, that's cool.
There you go.
So interesting, because that one's like a plate spinning / cozy sim, and Jotun was more of a boss rush game.
Well, publishers try to diversify their stuff, right? They're not made by the same dev team, probably, but that's cool that there's putting out all kinds of cool stuff, though, like very unrelated type genres too. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Very cool to me. So
Yeah.
that was the publisher thing that I wanted to do.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I'm happy
yes, thanks
that
for the
those
email.
people are still doing sweet stuff together. Because good on that publisher for putting out those games. 'Cause those games rule.
Yeah, absolutely. Both those games are cool. So shout out to both those people. Live update on the auction draft before we
Yeah, sure,
outro.
sure.
Oh yeah, where are you at?
We're somewhere in round 7 or 8 here.
Okay, so it has slowed down significantly.
No, it's going really fast now.
Yeah, it's
'cause
actually
not
going
a lot
faster
of
now
people are
because people are losing their
bidding
money
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are down to their last like $40, $10, $16, $20.
So now the important thing to do is pay attention to how much people's max bids are rather than how much money they have.
Right.
And try to pick up value where you can.
I'm working on it. We've got Kyler Murray, AJ Brown, T Higgins, Ken Walker, David Achen, Warren from India, tight end, Alvin Kamara, David Montgomery, and Cortland Sutton so far.
Okay.
Okay, you've got the bones of something there.
Yeah.
Debo Samuel just popped up, and I'm wondering if I should.
Debo did pretty good in his first
throw
game.
some money at Debo here.
I'll tell you, I have him and Jaden Daniels, and that was a potent combination.
Mm-hmm.
But they're playing Green Bay, and Green Bay looked pretty good this week, so I don't know. But, whole season. Right.
I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots to fill on this roster. So I might.
How much money do you have left?
$44.
Oh, bro, go in. How much? Do you have more than most people at this point?
No, I'm solidly in the middle. There's people with more money than me and people with less.
Okay, so then bid up, right?
I'm starting to bid people up. Yeah.
Get people to pay. Try to
starting
enforce
bid
the
people
floors
for sure, for sure.
And if you get
That's
stuck with a
definitely a
guy for the
strategy.
floor, don't feel bad.
Yeah, I know. I've got 5 spots to fill. I want to get another TE out of here before this is over.
Tight end is a wasteland, dude. You should.
So,
You must be far enough in the draft that all the good ones are gone. That
you know
you
what?
shouldn't pay more than $1.
You know
all
what,
the tight
though?
ends suck now.
David and Njoku's still here.
He's not good. Let me tell you
he
how I know.
did not have an opening. Yeah,
Jonu Smith is still here.
No, here's the dude you want. Hold on, the guy that's on the waiver wire this week. That everyone
Jonu
wants from
Smith.
the Browns. No,
No,
Jonu Smith did all right though. Yeah, you could
From
get
the
him.
Browns?
He's also pretty good. Yeah. The
Who do I
other
want?
tight end on the Browns that everyone's after. What's this guy's name? Hold on.
Juwan Johnson.
No.
Juwan Johnson did the best in the league this week.
Why can I not find him. Does someone already own him in my league? Is that why?
Uh-oh.
Are you talking about Fannin?
Yes, Fannin.
Fannin on the tight end position, huh? Fannin.
Yes.
I don't even see him. Oh, Harold Fannin. Okay.
Yeah, dude.
Got it.
This guy stole Njoku's lunch.
I like that. I think in this league, considering how large the we got to go. I know.
Yeah.
But considering how large the rosters are, I might grab an actual backup QB, which I've never done before in my life.
Yeah, this guy had 7 receptions for 63 yards last week on the Browns, and looked pretty good. So that's the guy.
Chris Olave. Wow, what a blast from the past.
The Ravens are terrible, or the Saints are terrible.
Saints are terrible. Yeah, I have Kamara because they got to do something.
Also, by the way, I hate to tell you this, Ken Walker III also not very good this year. So
I got him. I got him for $8.
Good. You got 2 RB2s there.
Yeah. They're RB2s. I got David H as an RB1.
Yeah, H-An's good. H-An will be good.
Yeah.
So anyway, Michael, people want to get at us with their stories about fantasy or talk about some other sweet indie publishers we should check out. Where can they send that?
They can send that to podcast@weweregamers.com. Let us know. Leave your name. We'll shout you out.
Yeah, if you put your freaking name in there.
Yeah, podcast@weweregamers.com. Sign your emails. And if you want to go watch Andy and I continue to work our way through Space Marine 2, that's on YouTube right now.
Oh, that was fun.
I have enjoyed some sweet jetpacking.
Michael, we have upped our game in terms of game footage. You see all that switching back and forth between people?
I did. The hard cuts
overlays
from camera to camera. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Bananas.
People should check that out. It looks good.
Oh, and Njoku just got brought up by somebody. $5. Nope.
Yeah, that's too much.
Tread lightly.
At this point, unless you're going to go for Fannin, I think like all the tight ends are $1. I don't think anyone's worth more than $1.
Yeah. This is great though. Outro. I would do this again. This auction draft is hilarious, awesome, and I love baiting people by putting Kelsey in the second round and making them spend $40 or whatever it was.
Yeah, dude. You can also, to be hilarious, you can start putting up defenses and like.
Oh,
kickers.
really?
Yeah.
Well, see, but I have a list of players that I want. So I'm going to run out of time eventually to get those players.
But you have to put a defense and a kicker on your roster, right?
You have to in the draft?
I mean, eventually you have to. So like, what are you going to do drafting a bunch of running backs? You have to drop one of them because you're going to play a defense next week.
Yeah.
If you can make people bid you up on the defense, you don't lose anything.
Do you wait to waiver some of these people? Like Fannin may never come up. Do you wait to waiver him, or you bring him up in the draft and just pay $1 and hope nobody bids you up on the player you want?
Well, if you pay you can control that, right? If someone else brings him up and you have $2, you take him, right?
But what I'm saying is, do you bring him up and then hope nobody bids you up on him?
That's why you have to pay attention to the max possible bids, because when it starts getting to the end, people will only be able to bid $1 for players, and then you can bring up whoever you want and you automatically get them.
Right. Should I bring up a kicker on my turn?
I mean, if you think you can get someone to pay $2 for him, right?
That's the problem, right?
At worst, you get the best kicker in the league.
Kicker in the league for $1. Yeah. I see
there are worse things.
I get the best defense in the league for $1. Darn.
Right.
So,
Do we think Spencer Schrader on Indianapolis is going to kick another 16-point game?
No, probably, but
So,
all right. Later, everybody.
Okay, yes. Goodbye. Email your name next time. Thank you for finding the publisher thing.